Hey guys, welcome back to DIY Dudes. I'm Drew, and today I'm going to be showing you how to replace a water supply line on your toilet. To give you a bit of a backstory, I'm doing a renovation here in my bathroom, and I noticed that my water supply line had a slow leak. Obviously, this needs to be replaced, and this is a very common problem that comes up in a lot of people's houses. So it's an easy renovation, and I'm going to show you guys a couple easy plumbing materials to use. The first is a shark bite fitting, and the next will be PEX piping. Let's get started. Whenever you're doing plumbing renovations like this, it's always a good idea to turn off the water to the entire house if possible, and that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. Whenever you shut off the water to the house, you always have to drain the water at a lower elevation than the area you're working at. So that's why I'm outside, because this faucet is actually lower than the bathroom upstairs. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up and let the water drain out. I'm going to start off by using a Sawzall to cut the existing pipe at the base. I'm going to use this pair of vice grips to hold the pipe above to keep everything nice and steady while I cut. Let's go ahead and get started. Use a pair of vice grip pliers to loosen the existing supply line and then unthread it from the tank. All right, so the next step is I want to transition from the existing copper piping in my house into easy to use PEX piping. In order to do that, I'm going to be using this awesome shark bite fitting that I was talking about before. Before you guys put on your shark bite fitting, you're going to want to make sure you give this guy a nice sand all over. Make sure there's no burrs or bumps or any sort of roughness that would prevent the shark bite fitting from grabbing on nicely. So I'm going to use a sandpaper and just give it a good once over. You're going to want to take your shark bite fitting and slide it straight over top of the existing pipe. And then give it a good pull back to make sure it's sealed. The next thing we're going to do is take our 1/2-inch PEX pipe and slide it into the other side of the shark bite fitting. Same thing, give it a good back pull to make sure there's a good seal. And then now we're ready to install our shutoff. All right, guys, so this isn't exactly part of the water line install, but I thought it was very important to actually show you how the PEX connections work and just how easy it is to use over copper piping. So a few of the tools that you need to do this job actually come together in a kit. I got the crimper, the tube cutter, and a set of these pinch clamps, all at Home Depot for like $35, $40. Very cheap. So I'm going to demonstrate one of the connections on a T connection just to show you how quick and easy this actually is. It's a great tool for all DIYers to do any sort of plumbing jobs inside your own house. So first thing you're going to do, take your tube cutters, cut a nice square edge. That's the beauty of the tube cutters. You can use a lot of other, like a saw or something like that. It would achieve the same result, but this is quick, easy, actually meant for cutting the tubes. So next, I'm actually going to connect the tube to the T connection. Put your pinch clamp on first. Slide the tube on there, make sure it's nice and tight. It's seated all the way to the edge of the guide here. Slide your crimp ring right up tight to the guide. That keeps it about 1/8 of an inch from the end. And then you take your crimpers. This is a little bit tricky to use while I'm holding the tube, but crimpers grab onto this piece right here. There's a little slotted end there that the crimp point actually slides into. I'm going to use the ground to kind of leverage myself here. And did you hear that first click? So the crimper has actually started to lock at this point. This is good because once you get it clamped once in the right position, then you can kind of readjust, get the torque you need. And it doesn't actually release until you crimp all the way down. So I dropped it. Ordinarily the tube would be nice and secure. It wouldn't fall down like that, but I did that connection in about 30 seconds. You want to have about 1/2 inch to 1 inch from the connection of the PEX to the male end of the new shutoff valve. So I'm going to go ahead and use my tube cutters to cut this to length. So we're going to take our 1/2-inch pinch clamp, seat it over the PEX pipe, take our shut off, slide it in place, adjust it to the position you want it to be. I like to have my shut-off valve positioned a little bit away from the point where I clamp on with my crimpers, just to make sure there's nothing in the way when I get to that step. Use your PEX crimping tool to compress the pinch clamp around the end of the pipe. This will create a watertight seal. So the next thing we're going to do is finally install the supply line. You're going to want to back the nut off of your shutoff you purchased in the store because you have one that's connected to the supply line. Whenever you're doing any sort of plumbing connection, it's a good idea to use a bit of Teflon tape. Just wrap this tightly around the threads. And then finally, thread on your water supply line. All right, and then use a 5/8 wrench or an adjustable wrench to tighten down your supply line. All right, guys, and that's it. The last step is to go ahead and turn on the water. If you guys have any comments, feel free to leave them below, and be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you in the next video.